Hey everyone, Sky here to discuss Psycho 3, starring Anthony Perkins, Diana Scarwood, Jeff Fahey, and Roberta Maxwell, and directed by Anthony Perkins. Now, I just got one question before I get started. Is this like Star Trek V all over again, or where it's directed by the star of the movie? Well, let's get into it, shall we? We open with Maureen in a church as she killed the leader of the sister nuns. And I thought, what the fuck does this have to do with Psycho after what we saw in the first two movies? Which didn't make much sense to me. Maureen gets a ride with Dwayne after she gets banished from the church, and it's nighttime, and as it's raining, Dwayne acts like a creep by kissing her and throwing her out of the car, and the opening sequence is dreadful, as it has nothing to do with Psycho whatsoever. Norman Bates, returned by Anthony Perkins, reads a newspaper of a woman who he killed at the end of the last movie and lets a bird go until Dwayne arrives at the Bates Motel. And he almost steals the money in the register, and Norman offers Dwayne, or as he's called, Duke, a job as the assistant manager. And that scene was strange, and he goes to the diner and meets Tracy, who as a character is very oddly placed in this movie, as she asks Norman questions I can't even answer without a lawyer, and I don't like the character as she's mousy. Duke books Maureen a motel room and steals her money, which is very bad business for Bates Motel, and Norman finds out he puts her in cabin 1 where Marion Crane died, and Mother tells him to hack the bitch up, which is necessary, but I don't like that sequence. Duke goes up to Tracy and tells her he's staying at the Bates Motel and talks with him. Meanwhile, Norman peeks behind the wall like he did in the first film, and he tries to kill her as Mother is, and she already cuts herself in the bathtub. It doesn't kill her, but put her in the hospital with a priest. And these scenes I just can't get behind because they're acted poorly. Norman as Mother hacks a bitch up in the phone booth, which isn't a bad idea, except the way it was executed was poorly directed by the star of the movie. And an actor directing himself isn't really the smartest idea. And I talked about it in Star Trek V, which was why I brought it up before, when it was a mistake for the actor to direct the movie he's starring in. Same idea with this movie in my opinion. And don't get me wrong, Anthony Perkins is a good actor, but he can't direct himself, just like William Shatner, who I'm not a big fan of, just makes the movie make themselves look good, which is a real problem. A high school football team and cheerleaders spend the night at the Bates Motel, and while it rains at night, they're having some kind of party where they get loud. Meanwhile, Maureen is drunk after dinner, and they lay down together, not in an intercourse kind of way. And Mother tells Norman to kill her, and Maureen checks up on Norman, and he says to go to her room and lock her door. And with the party going, Norman as Mother kills one of the girls, and the next morning the cops come to the motel and asks Norman questions about the girl Mother killed, and these scenes are preposterous. For example, the high school kids are horrible, the characters are poorly executed, and how many times have I seen this story? Honestly. Duke has Mother hostage and kisses the dead body, which is so full of shit and fucking disgusting. And Norman kills Duke, and with Woody Woodpecker playing in the background, while Tracy investigates on the Norman Bates case, and Norman puts the dead girl in Duke someplace far away, and Duke attacks, and Norman leads them to the pond from the first Psycho. And it was so dark I couldn't see a damn thing, and these scenes were a bunch of bullshit I can't stand. Alright. Maureen comes to the house, and hearing Mother's voice, Norman drops Maureen accidentally, and she dies. Meanwhile, Tracy comes by and hears Mother's voice, and goes to the house and sees Maureen's blood on the stairs, and sees her dead body and hears his mother's voice and runs back and tries to tell Norman she's crazy, and thanks to Norman she dies, and so does Mother. It gets taken to the police station and back to the asylum, and as a climax, it was unconvincing. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 4.1 out of 10. Anthony Perkins returning as Norman Bates and as the director made the movie look all about him, and as it was unconvincing, how many times am I going to see the same movie is beyond me. The characters are unrelatable, and unfortunately, it sucks. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next week I'll be back with Cycle 4, The Beginning. And until next time, ree!